a relationship to money, to the current money system. That system is out of date. It did a good job, a superb job actually, in launching the industrial age. I would claim that without it, we would never have had the industrial age. It is a machine to actually extract resources and concentrate them at the stop. Nobody has started a steel mill in a garage. Nobody started a railroad in their garden and then kind of grew out of it. You needed to have massive resources, concentrate to create the industrial age. And we all benefit from that age, but that age is behind us. And somehow, now that we're in the information age, and you all heard a lot about the information age and all the good things about the information age, but there's one thing they forgot to tell us. Right? The end of the industrial age. By the way, last time this happened was with the end of the agrarian age and the beginning of the industrial age. Well, 200, 300 years ago. And well, it wasn't fun for the farmers. It wasn't fun for nobility that had established its credibility and its prestige on land ownership. The big guys became the Carnegies and the other guys who were doing industrial stuff. They lost their power, they lost their influence, they lost their prestige. So we are at such an age. We are at the transition period. The big difference is that this one will not take 200 years to spread around the world. It's happening in months, in years. We are in the middle of the deepest transformation, certainly of our memory, but I would claim it goes even deeper than what happened in the Renaissance. Okay? The issues that are maturing is also the end of patriarchy. The values of patriarchy, whereby feminine values were the sissies, are now, if you keep neglecting them, it will be the end of our species. We will not have a chance to live on this planet if we continue doing what we're doing. We are destroying the biosphere from which we live at an unprecedented scale. This is the fastest extinction on record. It's faster than what happened to the dinosaurs. And the ones who are doing it is us, who claim to be the only species that have consciousness. Interesting, right? So these 5 megatrends converge now. There are solutions to all 5 of them. I repeat, there are solutions to all 5 of them. It's not the same solution, but it requires the same step. It's getting out of the money box. The idea that we need to do everything with a single currency. And today that currency happens to be the one that is created by the financial system. That's the modern form of it. But it's much older than this. We're talking 5,000 years of history here. Right? And in this time, well, let me put it in modern time. Henry IV, the founder of the dynasty, the first one, had a statement that always I found very intriguing. He said, if Americans understood money and banking, there would be a revolution the next morning. Actually, I'm convinced he's right. And the only reason that the revolution hasn't happened is that people haven't understood yet. So I think the time to learn is come. That's the first thing to do. Now, let's talk about the little box. The little box is, we try to do everything with a single currency. Now, how many of you have used something else as a medium of exchange? Right? A few. Right? Actually, how many of you have not? Right? Okay. Some, I would claim that everyone has done this. Okay? including the ones that are not here. All right. Everybody's used the miles. Everybody's using loyalty points at the Boulder bookstore. This is a currency. We happen to be applying it to a very stupid idea, i.e. get you back to the same shop for the same airline, right? Which is not a particularly exciting, important thing. It certainly doesn't change society, and it certainly even change the economy. Just choose one airline instead of the other. No one. However, the technology is there. We know how to manage currency systems on a very, very large scale. The mile system is gigantic. There are more miles than dollars in circulation, 14 trillions, all right? So it's huge. Now, how about using these technologies? Because ultimately, what is money? It's information. And I find it absolutely fascinating that of all the things that have been said that will happen in the information age, that everything will change, except one thing: money. Hey, this is our oldest information system and our most important information system that shapes an enormous amount of things we do, an enormous amount of things that businesses do, an enormous things that governments do. Everything is shaped by that tool that somehow is assumed to be neutral, value neutral. It's just an efficient way of making things happen. I don't claim that's not true. It is efficient. But there's another thing we've learned in the last 6 years. They've been doing research with an American team on the topic of complex flow networks. Sounds strange, right? A complex flow network is something where you have a network and things flow in it. For example, a forest, biomass flows in it. For example, electrical distribution networks. The electrons that are coming through here are part of a complex flow network. For example, in every one of your bodies, the immune system is a complex flow network in which information flows. And finally, we believe in economy in which money flows. Now, what has been fascinating, been based on 25 years of research on natural ecosystems. Now, what's interesting about natural ecosystems is that they have one thing in common, notwithstanding their extraordinary diversity. Natural ecosystems can be the Amazon, it can be the Serengeti Plains, and it can be a little puddle the size of a dish in your backyard. Or it can be, in different climates. There are an enormous variety of this stuff. But all of them have one thing in common. They are sustainable. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. So, the fascinating question was, what else do they have in common? And that is where the surprise came. And this is published in 5 peer-reviewed articles, by the way. It's not opinion that I'm talking about. That they have in common that there are 2 key structural variables. The word that's important is structure. That need to be within a range. You have to have a minimum and a maximum. And these variables are diversity and interconnectivity. Diversity, one is never good. I repeat, never good. A monoculture is fragile. It can be very efficient. A forest of pines grows faster and produces more biomass per square meter per year than a diversified forest. I'm not arguing that. However, one match and it's gone. Okay? So it's not resilient enough. Now, the interesting thing is that given that we're dealing with structural variables, this is true for all complex flow networks, independent of what flows through it. Bingo. The idea of a single currency the box in which we have been locked is the source of the monetary instability. It is not a question on who runs it. It's not even a question with what intentions they run it. I'm going to compare it with a car. I give you a car, and that car has no brakes. And the steering wheel is not very reliable. Okay? And I'm sending you over the Rockies. Well, you're going to have an accident, right? And when the accident occurs, people will come by and say, oh, gee whiz. I mean, oh, must be the driver. Let's change the driver. You know, let's replace Mr. Greenspan with Mr. Bernanke, and everything will be fine, right? Or the other thing would be, oh, well, look at these road maps. Oh, the curve in which you had the accident was not marked on the road. No wonder you had an accident. Let's give you update road maps. A new couple of regulations on the corner. And everything went by. You take the car back up and you walk into the next rabbi. That is what we are doing. Now, the other thing I found very fascinating is that the media talk about, when you talk about monetary and financial issues, they talk about the last one. Right? They tell you, well, talking the crisis, well, he's talking 2007, 2008. Well, I have news for you. According to the statistics from the IMF, there have been 421 systemic crashes over the last 40 years. 10 per year. Okay? There are 3 types, and they're typically classified as if they're on different planets. One of them is a banking crash, like the one we had in 2007. Another one is a monetary crash, like the one we're going to be living in Europe. Okay? And a third one is sovereign debt crisis, like Ireland or Greece have. I would put that, given that we classify them differently and look at them totally as if they're different planets, I would compare that to, you have a flu. You have a runny nose, that's one disease. You have also aching joints, I mean, that's another disease. And if you have fever, we have to deal with another pill for that. Okay? God forbid that we look at the system as a whole and actually put the 3 together, which is what is happening. So this system is falling apart. It's not just the last crisis. It is falling